Welcome to the 13th episode of Beneath the Kotatsu. It's your hosts, James and On.
Hello, everybody.
So, for this week, we did something a little bit special. We watched Goku Shufuro, and we read the manga, and we saw the J drama.
Yeah. So for the anime overall, I started with the manga, then I watched the live action, and then we watched the anime because the anime came out a little later than all of these because it was shown on Netflix. What about you, James?
So, I saw the live action, then I read the manga
Hmm.
for a little bit, then I switched to the anime. I saw the first episode, went back to the manga, and then went back to the anime again. And like I kind of read it, then I saw it, then I read it, then I saw what happened. They skipped a few things, but overall it felt like it was
Like
uh,
1-1.
1-to-1
Yeah.
for what they
Oh,
did because it was only 5 episodes.
okay. So from these three medias, what would you rate? Like how would you rate these three medias, like first, second, and third place?
Ooh man. So for me, I told you I was gonna go with the J drama because I felt like I was gonna be spoiled if I did the manga,
Hmm.
and it definitely felt like uh, different shows as you said before
Hmm.
to me in a private conversation. I Overall I liked the J drama the most. I'll give that one 8.2 out of 10.
Okay.
I feel like I'm being going to be unfair with my rating of the manga just because I don't really like reading manga too much.
Right.
Because I tend to go through them fast and I don't digest the content as good as I should.
Right.
Uh, Probably a 7.5 out of 10. And then
Okay.
the anime, 7 point, actually, yeah, 7.2. So for me, anime was the worst. Then the manga was better. Surprisingly, I didn't think I would feel that way. But the J drama
Okay.
was certainly my favorite.
That's reasonable because you did start out with the J drama. So for me, I would definitely have to give the manga first place. I for sure first place, like 9.5, maybe a 9 to 9.5. Live action second, and then the anime last. And oh my god, I I would not consider that an anime. Um,
No, I would not either.
it's a PowerPoint. It's a PowerPoint with moving photos. That's
Yeah.
that's what it was. Like they legit just cut out the panels, they colored it in, they cropped out the character models, and then wiggled them back and forth on the screen. That's what they did.
Isn't that kind of like how they have I don't know if you've bought any of these, but so there's some ebooks that have animations in them now.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely
Um,
felt like that, and feels like they had different people trying characters in certain episodes. Because what was Tatsu's wife's name? Miku,
yeah, Miku.
and for some reason on episode 5, it looked like they didn't draw her nose on her face, and everybody else in that episode was drawn correctly
Are
with good
you
nose. And
are you sure they just didn't straight up just take the photos from the manga and then just colored it in?
I
Like they
was
didn't even
going
draw
to
anything.
I was gonna check, but I forgot to do it to be honest with you.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure if it was just an angle. I'm not a professional artist or anything like that. But
Right.
Masa was next to Miku in the same scene, and he looked fine. Maybe it's just the way that the women are drawn in the show. But I
Like a
saw
character model.
Tori, and she was completely different. Like she had her nose defined. Some of the scenes, like for some reason, the nose bothered me on Miku. Because sometimes it was there and sometimes it wasn't. It was just like a big empty spot. Kind
I
of like when
was
we're
I
watching
was too
Hollow Live and
aggravated. I was
I
just too
what?
aggravated about them calling this an anime. Like
Yeah, it was
I
five
hope it
episodes.
legit gets a real anime. Like this is not an anime.
I don't think it will get more than what we have.
This is uh, I
Maybe we'll
don't
get
consider this.
lucky and they'll
Yeah,
do like a Full Metal Alchemist and redo it.
they really do like they are not giving this manga like justice.
Not
It's
at all.
like okay, the anime was I don't want to say it's good, but I mean it's 1-1 to source material, right? Well, like
It
most
really
people,
is.
yeah, it literally is 1-1 to source material. They really didn't leave much out. They like they even kept in a lot of the sound effects, like
It's,
the literal on page sound effects.
I don't
And
remember. Sorry to cut you off. Go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Okay. So the cat stuff, was that from the manga? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like the point 0.5 chapters.
Oh, that's why when I read them, I didn't have the point 0.5 chapters.
Okay, yeah, I think they're like the filler chapters or the extra chapters you get when you buy the volumes.
Okay, I
Um,
really like those. Those are fun.
yeah.
Especially the one where Tori is having a trying to. She went to the cat cafe and she takes a cat that reminds her of her husband. That was like my
um,
favorite part of the show. But anyways, go on.
uh, I don't want to talk about the anime anymore. It was just off. I mean, it's you
It
know
was
what it
super
is.
short.
You know what it is. I mean, it basically just was the first 2 or 3 volumes of the manga,
Yeah.
and each episode was like ten chapters or something like that. But I, even though I would not call this an anime, you know what this would be really good with, um, to
What?
sit a kid in front of it with the manga, and you can kind of follow along. If
Yeah, I mean,
that's
I don't
that's what it
know
felt like.
why I would do that, but that
I
would be
for a
kind of weird to
kid,
do.
yeah. I mean, if you're like, here, like I'm like a kid, like maybe like 6 years old or something. Like here, sit down. You can read and watch along. I don't know if a kid would enjoy something like maybe it's pretty funny, but
I would imagine it's been done before, but just because I don't read manga, it's the concept is alien to me.
yeah, it's not worth it. Let's just transition over to the live action because
Super
I don't know.
different. Super
It
different.
is.
And it didn't have the same
I
feel at all.
Not at all.
And the
Like,
dynamic from Miku and Tatsu definitely felt a little bit different.
I mean, they straight up had a kid,
Oh yeah,
so
they did. They added a character. They actually made a few changes with characters. Uh, they went more in depth with Tori, and the boss, her husband, didn't die in the show. I
oh,
think
that's right,
they
that's right,
combined the boss character with Tori's husband. It feels like, and removed the
that's
dog.
right. No, no, I think they're two separate. I think you're like, are you talking about the character that they played volleyball with?
No, that's the Kuma Bears.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
That's different
I thought you're
people.
like combining those two characters, but
No,
because they're both kind of boss like characters. But
yeah,
yeah, I see what you're saying because yeah, in the manga, the reason why she's working at the convenience store is because the husband died, and there's no one else to look after the gang financially. So that's why she's working at the convenience store.
exactly. And they're all just hanging out there with her, not even getting paid. It looks like.
Right.
They're
In
like, why don't you have them do jobs elsewhere instead of just them hanging around harassing customers? It's ridiculous to
uh,
me, but whatever.
I mean, I thought it was hilarious that
It
when he was
was.
picking out food, she's like, "Oh, here, let me put a half price sticker on that," and then the manager's like, "No, you don't, not that one."
Yeah, I'm glad they kept that in the live action.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Um, yeah, but in the live action, there's no reason for her to work at the. No, no, no.
There is. They
There is
get
because they get disbanded, right?
yeah, they get busted by the cops. They're saying you can't do this stuff anymore, so they don't really have a means of uh, doing anything illegal to make money. And I
Right.
don't know what the leader is doing. He's just chilling all the time, trying to make some schemes.
Yeah, he's trying to scheme something up, and then she's working at the convenience store. Um, but regarding the child character, I actually didn't like that they added the child character in because it changed the dynamic so much. Like I get that maybe they needed like that extra character to tie in all these separate like remember when I told you about when I was telling you about how the live action was completely different from the manga and they
Yeah, they
were
definitely merged a lot of stuff together.
yeah, they're trying to tie all these chapters into like one coherent story,
Hmm.
unlike the manga where each chapter is its own little bubble story.
Right.
um
Well, that's a challenge when you have a web comic like that, right? Or would you call it a gag manga?
I mean it's just straight up a manga because it's written just like a manga, so
Okay.
it is written in a gag form. But did you like the child character at all?
I actually felt it was very good and I missed it in the manga. So it made Tatsu feel more like a house husband.
Hmm.
In the anime, in the manga, he just feels like a Yakuza character. He feels less of that in the show.
See,
Honestly,
I'm
for
on
that
the
matter, all
opposite
the
trend.
Yakuza characters don't feel like Yakuza.
I'm on the opposite trend of that because in the manga, it's Miku who drags him out of being a yakuza. So it should just be the dynamic between them two.
Hmm.
And in the manga, I felt like he was way cooler.
He
In
definitely
the
was.
Yeah, in the live action, he was more goofy. He was way more goofy.
Well, yeah, you
Than
look at him and he's like, "There's no way this dude can fight that well." Like
Yeah.
the so Tatsu fought. What did he clear out? Rival Yakuza groups, an entire
I think
branch.
in the live action,
Hmm.
it was like uh
Just one
10
place, right?
people. Yeah, it was like 10 people or something like that. I think in the manga it said like a whole yakuza gang or something.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
went
know,
through
but
like five different buildings, something like that. And the live action, it was just one place. And the makeup
yeah.
wasn't even that good when he was all bruised up. It was a little sketchy. The quality on that was a little bit weird.
I mean, if you want to talk about sketchy, I mean, like the director got his hand on like a 360 camera and used it as much as possible, even though it had like the crappiest.
I didn't even notice that. Gotta write it off. I don't know how Japanese taxes work.
I mean, it was the crappiest resolution. Like, did you notice every time he was riding his bike and they were using the 360 camera,
Oh
the
yeah,
it went from like 1080 to like 360. I'm like, why are they using this even though it's so crap? Like,
gotta
I
get their
would
money's
totally
worth. They probably used it on a separate project.
I totally get it if they used it in like the first episode and they didn't know how crappy it was, and then they already had the footage, so they just had to go with it. But they
Right.
used it throughout the whole show, and I was like, what? This makes no sense. Like, why are you using this? Like, use a GoPro or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure they have the budget for it. Like, why are you using this 360 camera when you can easily just use a GoPro that's probably way better resolution?
I distinctly remember that now that you mention it, and I didn't care for it, but it didn't really bother me that much. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't know why they did this shot, but I guess they
It
wanted it
just it
more
just bothered me.
dynamic and stuff like that because it's a
I guess.
conversion from a
It's
manga.
unneeded. It's unneeded.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, man, I can't believe you actually liked the live action over
I did.
the manga, but
I did.
I
And
guess it's because you just started out the live action. But
yeah, and I
what
wanted to
was
defend one thing really quick.
well, go ahead.
The I definitely feel like for the live action, it was necessary for them to introduce the child character because each episode was like 40 minutes long, right? And it took
Was
me
it?
like, oh yeah, they were long, they were beefy. So the whole
Oh, okay.
basically like uh 16 regular formatted episodes. It was just 8
Right.
episodes, I believe.
I don't. It's been a while since I watched it, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I liked the child character. I liked how she had a crush on Masa in a few of the
Oh
episodes.
yeah, that's right. I
That was
forgot all about
one of the
that.
best parts of the show for me.
I That was so weird. I was like, I mean, yeah, it was nice that they, like put together all these, like that they strung together all these like chapters together. But I don't know, it just felt kind of off when some of my favorite funny parts in the manga didn't really transfer over
No,
the, you
they
know,
didn't even have Little Round, dude. Come on. How could
little
you
what?
Little Round? Isn't that what the hamster was called
Oh, I forgot they had a. Wait,
in the
they.
manga?
Did they cut out the kid in the live action?
They did.
The boy? I was like, you're gonna introduce this like extra daughter character, but you're gonna cut out the boy? Like, really? Why?
Well, they had the scene where the with the little boy Ryotaro, but they had two kids instead of the one. He was just,
Yeah,
babysitting for them, but they didn't
it
really
was a little
use
extra.
him more
Yeah,
than once.
yeah.
Ryotaro had like what, 3 scenes or 3 chapters, excuse me.
I I think I know he was in like the where they break the figure, where they build like a bunk bed. Uh,
Where they
what
make
other
soap.
scene?
That was
Oh,
probably the bunk
make
bed too.
what?
They made soap.
Oh, they made soap. That's right.
Yeah, he had to do a summer project.
like a science project.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess he was only in 3 chapters, so yeah, he wasn't in that many, but
it
I'm
was still
surprised they
funny,
actually cut him out. Yeah.
but it didn't really
What
need
were
him.
your like favorite chapters?
Favorite chapter, the hamster.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. I still like the one where he's going to buy the Polycure figure. Or what was it, a figure? I know that they did the little pose to try and get limited edition cards or something like that.
Oh, okay. I in the manga, he broke the figure and then they tried to bury it and then she fixed it with hot like the glue gun. But in the live action, they stretched it out to like 1.5 episodes.
Well, they taped it together.
No, no, no. So in the live action, he breaks the figure. He hides the figure in the garden, and then him and the cop go to this like crazy hunt to try to find this figure to buy the figure again or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's where they combined again. Those
Yeah,
two
or some
separate
so
chapters that they combined. And I
yeah,
don't, in
it
the
was
manga, it
weird.
was just a random nerd, wasn't it? Was it the police officer in casual clothes? I don't remember.
No, 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 no. It was like this nerd that worked at the store. Like he's in like a bunch of the chapters. He's
Yeah,
like the knowledgeable guy with the glasses. Like he's the guy in the back that's like, "Oh, let me give you all the information you need to know about X or Y."
yeah, I remember that just because one scene where he was just explaining something and they had the text bleeding outside of the bubble where you couldn't read it. And I was trying to read it. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that was the intention. They did that a couple of times, especially when they were comparing DVDs. That was definitely my favorite in the live action when they were going to get that figure. And he went along with the cop and they busted an actual drug
Oh
thing.
yeah, that's right.
Oh man. Oh,
Like
I was
the older cop thought they were like actually selling drugs or whatever, and they
yeah.
started following him, and then
Uh,
they bust the ring.
Right. I'm super disappointed that they didn't actually show the secret place that they were trying to find in the background and then just walking away from it and never going to it. I kind of wish that happened.
I think in the manga, I think my favorite chapter is probably the one where they have too much stuff in the house, so they have to set up a
Garage sale or flea
like
market.
flea market thing, and then like some yakuza guy comes up and they start like hustling like the vendors, and so Tatsu like pulls him to the side and he's like, okay, I know you deal like your boss probably wants something, so he starts handing them all these like random objects
Right.
like as a gift, but the yakuza guy thinks he's like, because he's the immortal dragon, he thinks he's using these objects as like threatening items, like I'll give you this blender. He's like, to blend my hand up or something.
Yeah. It was also Rubber Duck too.
Oh
Swallow the
yeah,
fishes or
that
something.
that was like the very end, like that was the kicker at the very end with the rubber duck. Like it started out with the, I think, the blender, and then
No, the blender was the
uh
second one. The first one was like it was like apple peeler and no, it was
oh
an
yeah, the
orange
peeler,
juicer.
the kitty cat peeler.
Oh yeah, that one. I don't remember if
Yeah,
it was for apples or for oranges, but it's all the same.
yeah, and he's like, to peel my skin off.
Yeah,
And it was the blender, and then there's something after the blender. I don't
it
recall.
was
Do you
just the
remember?
duck. It was just 3 items, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was like, and I'll give you this rubber ducky, and the guy's like, oh, that's not too bad. And he's like, yeah, and Tatsu says, yeah, because it floats. And the guy's like in his head, he's like, it floats. That means I'm gonna drown. He's gonna drown me. I
For that,
laughed so hard at that.
yeah, it was good. When I read it, I didn't. I actually preferred the anime version of that scene over the manga, because when I was in the manga, I didn't feel like how he says things and just regularly, but everybody else feels it menacingly. I didn't feel that in the manga for that scene, but I definitely felt it in the anime, obviously, because the guy's voicing it. You can hear the tone in his voice.
I mean that's one thing they did really good in the anime, if you want to call it the anime, is they had good voice, like really, really good voice acting.
Wasn't it the
I
same guy from the live action?
I have no idea, but I mean,
That's what I read it was supposed to be, but I didn't
uh,
really try to go back and watch it at the same time and compare.
I bet you that's where all their went, is to getting good voice actors, because I mean, it was, if anything, it was bar none really good voice acting. Um, but in regards to like my other favorite chapter, it'd probably have to be the roach one. I think that was just so random but really funny.
It looked like the characters from that bug anime where they get super buff and they fight on Mars. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. That was so
it looked
random.
it looked like that with the big bug eyes, the cartoon eyes, like contrasting to Tatsu's physical appearance and his super detailed tattoos. That made me crack up.
I just thought it was hilarious, like that when the bug landed on his chest, and he's like, "Miku, go ahead and do it." And she's like, "But it's gonna hurt." And he's like, "Nah, it's fine. I got it." And she rolls up that piece of paper ready to hit him. And instead of hitting the bug, she smacks him like right in the face.
Straight in the eyes, bro. Like right between the bridge of the nose.
Oh, you know what they did really good through all three genres
What?
is when Miku is cutting up like vegetables.
Oh my god. Yeah. I I actually appreciated that in the manga the most. In the live action, it didn't feel realistic at all. Like, come on, dude, you see people chop stuff on TV.
Just
She's
like
like,
just hacking it.
she's she has like a Gundam arm, like moving really slowly and like a machine or something like that. Like you know how
This
they
is
show
so
robots
funny.
moving in old timey TV shows? They
Like two
put
frames, like up and down.
yeah, it's like super forceful down. Like I got that sense, but in the live action, it didn't feel as good.
Yeah, it's because it's unrealistic in the live action, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think maybe they could have played off with her trying to cut it like better, but it's all like jagged and whatever. I think
That's what
that
I
would have
was
made more
hoping they would
sense.
have done.
But I mean, I think they just wanted to keep the sense of like how funny it was, like overall, like them, like her trying to like cut it like that. But
They made the
I
show
thought,
too realistic is the problem.
what do you mean too realistic? I mean, it's supposed to be a gag
Well,
show,
it didn't
so
feel as exaggerated as the manga or the anime.
I I guess, but I don't. Maybe
Like
I.
Tatsu didn't feel as threatening. Uh, he didn't feel like the
mm,
mortal dragon to me. It's like I'm not getting that vibe. He just talks, old timey. I guess I
he
couldn't
talks like a
really say.
yakuza,
Yeah, I've never met a yakuza, so I couldn't say they did or didn't do it correctly.
right?
They would know more obviously since they do have to do their research for the show. But yeah, also there's another chapter related to the chopping, uh, where the dad and the mother
Oh
come to
yeah.
visit, and Tatsu's like, I recognize those moves, so that's where she gets it from. And then the mom intercepts, and she's like, uh, styling, and Tatsu's in awe. He bows down to her, let me study under you.
Oh. I think they also brought in like the from the manga to the live action. They did really well in bringing in like the council of like old women or something
I
like that.
was thinking about that. I was about to mention that. But
Yeah.
in the live action, they didn't have the cool names like they did in the manga.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a minor detail. It's not that big, but
Was one of my favorite things. The Alchemist was one of them. Were the nicknames?
I don't. It's been a while. I can't recall them, but I just remember it was really funny. I think the last lady was like just the sewer or something like that.
Something. Yeah, she had the last one was the most normal one. The other ones were like Super Chunibyo
Like
nicknames.
just something like crazy.
Yeah, the Alchemist, the
Well,
Wizard,
wait,
or something like that.
was it the live action where they were talking
In the
and
dark.
then yeah, and then the handyman comes in and is like, "You guys need to vacate. We got another group coming in."
They were playing pretend the whole time. Uh, did they have that in the manga? It didn't feel like they
I
did.
I don't think so. I think they're like a legit council of like old women in the manga, but in the live action it was more gag related
Yeah,
than
it was
anything.
probably one of the best gags they did, I think. The ladies in the dark. It's
I
like,
mean, they
come
had a
on, dude.
lot of gags. They had a lot
Obviously,
of good
since it
gags.
was an adaptation of one.
Yeah, you know what gag I'm kind of sad they didn't put into the live action was when um Tatsu goes to like a school to be like a quick substitute teacher,
Yeah.
and then he teaches like all the kids how to make aprons. And then like the kids in the background that's trying to be like cool and Yakuza like, they're like, this is so lame. Why do we have to make this? And then Tatsu like styles on them. He's like, you know how he like his menacing pose or whatever.
Right.
And then all the kids are like, oh yeah, I guess we have to follow what he's doing or whatever. And the scene just ends with like a bunch of like high school kids walking down the hallway like wearing like aprons with like dogs and cats on them. I thought that was great. I'm kind of sad they didn't put that into the live action, but
Maybe in the
I
future, are they done with the show?
I feel like they are.
They could
Um,
probably pump out another season. There's a lot of
I
this
I
stuff.
could I could see that like, but if they do like I talked to you about this where if they were planning to do a second season, it's gonna be very hard for them to follow where the manga is going because the tangent they're going with are very very different from the
Yeah.
manga.
Oh, and
Especially that ending. The ending wasn't even in the manga. And then the part with the the kid fighting with the other kid or whatever, like where they had a bout, um, like at the school. That wasn't even the manga either. It was just something I guess they wanted to add just to um, add more character growth or whatever to the child character or
so
whatever.
that one they combined the Momotaro chapter where he's at the library and put it to where he's in the school as
Yeah,
well.
the one where he's doing a play.
Right. So they
Yeah,
combined that.
they combined that. Was the guy the guy that was stealing stuff, was that in the manga?
That was not in the manga at all.
So that was just something extra they added on top.
They did, and they didn't even show the scene where uh, Tatsu straight up recruits a bunch of other yakuza to come in and help him with the play. They didn't have that in the manga at all. I
Oh,
really like that one too.
I that's so yeah, I guess they take a lot of liberties in the live action because I mean I guess they have to put in a lot of filler stuff to make everything flush out.
Yeah, like I said,
Uh,
40-minute show. They had to add a lot.
yeah, they do have to add a lot. I guess that if they didn't do that, I guess it would end up looking something like the anime where they just have like a bunch of cuts and it'd be like a Family Guy episode where they just have
Exactly.
like a gag, a cut, and then another gag or something like that.
Right. And
Um,
I just want to mention something really quick. Uh, it was actually 2 seasons of Goku Shufudo in the drama. Because
like
at like episode 4, they had like a
mhm.
whole little advertising bit about original storyline at the end of the show.
Ah,
Yeah,
so okay, so it was like 4 episodes originally, and then another four on top. So
right,
that was already 2 seasons,
definitely. So that's why I was thinking they could do a third.
right? You know, I in the live action, you know what part I didn't really like was the when they opened up a like a candy or a parfait shop or whatever.
Yeah.
That wasn't even anything close. Like they didn't even pull any chapters from the manga. It was just like completely random.
You know what
Um,
that reminded me of?
what?
I don't know if they. That's why I was asking if they might do a third season. Remember in the manga where Torujiro is competing against the donut shop, and it's a character from
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was like one of the members from the previous gang he was in that he left, and she was there just I guess to get his attention. They
Uh,
could do that story.
yeah. I really do like that they did a lot with that the character. Like, what was his name? The blonde hair guy.
Torajiro. He looked really
Tor-
jank in in the live action. I don't
I
know.
love the way he looked at the live action.
The bandana
Um,
was like, oh, super weird, dude. What? It was like oversized and silk.
like like honestly, he was super silly in the manga. So the way they pulled it off in the live action, I thought it was great. Like. I think that's what they were going for. I think they were going for like super jank. Like it's a Yakuza guy working in a what do you call it? Like a little bus thingy that makes crepes.
Yeah, he lives in his car too. It looks like
Yeah, he does.
the crepe. I really
Oh,
liked we're going back to Torajiro. They added him into the volleyball scene with Tatsu.
oh, did they? Oh,
Yeah, they
yeah,
did.
that's right. As the opposing team.
No, when they were oh sorry, not the volleyball scene. I'm mixing stuff up. The yoga gym scene.
Did they?
They
I
did.
don't.
I saw the yoga thing and Tour Zero wasn't there. I noticed that one for sure.
Okay. Yeah, oh yeah, I remember because they're going back and forth between naming like yoga poses.
Right. And in the manga, there wasn't any of that going on at all.
I thought that was hilarious. It's like this is the pose where like the pose where someone gets shot directly in the head and he's like lying directly on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking about the gym stuff, they really did the clothes that Tatsu has for gym from the manga really well, didn't they?
I mean, it was just like Adidas stuff, right?
No, it had some weird uh fictitious brand. It was like a pug.
Yeah, but it looked like basically it was basically Adidas, but just different branding or whatever.
Yeah, they really did clothes in the show, especially for Masa. They like souped that dude up. I don't know why. He was wearing a bunch of like high-end clothing, like
Was
Legenda, Monsieur
he?
Kitsune. I think he was wearing Dior in one episode, which is funny because he's working for people that have no money. So where the heck is he getting all that money?
Okay, so quick question. I know we don't watch a lot of J dramas, you know, in general. Is
Yeah,
he supposed to be like someone that's very popular in the J drama scene,
I have no idea.
like as a face, you know?
That's the feeling that I got from it, just because they were having him wear like super expensive clothing.
Yeah, that's. I guess that's where. Yeah,
And in the
that's
manga,
where
he
I
was
was
always
feeling it
wearing
too.
the same thing pretty much.
I mean, his clothes were all like janked up, and he had to call Tatsu over to help clean his like room and to wash his clothes, and I'm like, okay.
Well, in the manga, they didn't really show why, but in the live action, they made up the backstory that he wanted to be a house husband for the girl that works at that, uh, what was it, a
The
cafe?
bar,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah, I love that girl. I don't think she was talked. I don't think she was in the manga at all, but
No,
I
not at
really
all.
love
I
them
missed
adding
her,
that girl. Yeah,
definitely.
she was great. Yeah, I did enjoy her character. She was just so random, but
Well, it was somebody
um
for Masa, I suppose.
yeah,
The rap thing
I
was super random.
yeah, I was about to say that. I was like, that thing was out of nowhere. It's like the rap battle.
Well, I mean, they
I'm like,
they took that from another chapter where the one of the dudes of the when Tatsu had his last mission for his Yakuza group, uh, he was like, "My group was freaking dismantled. I'm gonna battle you with rap to get my vengeance," or something like that.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was a really good chapter. I guess that's where they took that from. But to
I
make it
mean,
for
it
the
was like
cafe
two
girl,
pages. It was 2 pages, and they turned that into a whole episode.
yeah, it didn't really feel right for the manga girl, but I guess they had to give her some flavor. And the rapping in the show isn't even that great.
I guess it was supposed to be jank, right? It was supposed to be like janky rap.
I mean, I don't know Japanese rap. Like I've heard it just from Hololive earlier or in anime openings.
Okay, so moving on real quick, like in regards to the manga, do you think it would be better if it was like told in more of a story fashion instead of like separate gags?
No, I think it was great for like I enjoyed both of these, the live action separately from the
Yeah,
manga. So I definitely enjoyed the manga how it was written, and I enjoyed the live action. I wouldn't enjoy the live action if it was in the format of the manga. It not at all. It would feel super weird. Just like
yeah,
how the
that's what I
anime
was
came
getting
out.
to. Yeah,
The anime is like
I
the
oh
bridge between the two, and like the J drama pulled it off good, and the manga pulled it off good. I like both
yeah,
separately. Like I can't really compare both of them
yeah,
too
and I mean
much
the
because
anime
it
is basically just the manga, right? And
yeah, but they could have put more effort into it. How good of a show
yeah,
it is.
yeah. What other characters did they add into the live action that wasn't in the manga?
Uh, so the boss that was supposed to be dead. Uh,
Oh wait, I remember. I think it was like a minor, like one chapter, not even one, like a 1 page character in the manga, but the guy that sells weapons and stuff, like he was a recurring character,
oh,
and
I love
I
that
thought
guy. He was selling suits too.
he was just selling like the most random crap, like the bat, like the spike bat.
Oh, I remember talking to you about how plastic it looked.
I mean, it was plastic. It was legit
Yeah,
just
I know,
plastic. But I
but
mean,
they were acting like it was like 100-pound bat because obviously they had to
yeah,
make it look like a real weapon.
yeah.
That
I was just saying like it probably has to look plastic, but they probably even if it was made out of metal, it'd probably be illegal to for them to own like
yeah, for
for
them
the
to have
production
that.
company, yeah, to own something like that, like a
That guy
legit
was
like
probably the
metal
only
bat.
character that actually felt like maybe a Yakuza type for
He
sure.
just he always talked in that like weird like snorting manner where he's like, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah,
Didn't he have his
you
like
come.
shoulders hunched while he was talking or something to get that voice out look like?
I have no idea, but he like just the way he talked was super hilarious. Like, what are you looking for? You're looking for like did he like every time they try to buy something, he's always trying to sell off like a suit to them.
Yeah, he's one of the few characters that actually felt like a manga character from the original material, even though he's
Yeah,
largely an original
like an
character.
extra.
Yeah,
Yeah, like just like a side character that was like a one. I like that they could take a character that was only in like one page of the manga and that they stretch him out throughout the whole show as a
yeah.
recurring character.
I'm surprised
Um,
they made those episodes as long as they did. 40 minutes per? That's crazy.
I mean
That's
they
a,
could have in half, but maybe
definitely made it a longer running show. 20-minute
yeah,
episodes for 16 weeks instead of 8.
yeah. Um, were there like do you think the gags in the live action was funnier than the manga?
No, I preferred it in the manga because I remember with Torajiro, they exaggerated how he beat up some dudes and they had him do like spins, rolling on the ground, stuff like that. And
Right,
it
right,
didn't,
right, right.
yeah, it didn't look too great to me. In the manga, obviously, comes stuff like that comes off better because it's the artist's discretion. They're not having to rely on another company to do CG that gets super expensive. So obviously, not the best quality is going to be for that. It was funny in the show still, but not as good as if the original manga would be.
Right. Um was I don't recall, but in the this scene just comes out of nowhere in my head.
Where
Was it in the manga or was it in the live action where a bunch of people thought they were like super poor? Um,
that was in the uh,
I think it's
live
live action, right?
action. The
Where
reason you're
Tatsu's like,
probably getting thinking it was in the manga maybe is because they combined where Tatsu was working extra jobs to make money
yeah,
just so he could get the figure.
that's right, that's right. And then all these people thought they were like super poor because he has to work all these
That was really
jobs.
good.
And the lady what would you call her? Like the head of the like lady society or something like
No, it
that.
was like just a group of housewives that meet up.
Yeah,
It was
like
a group of
but
friends.
she was like the head of the housewives or
Well,
whatever.
she was the leader of the group. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. She comes over, hands them an envelope, and she's like, "You need this like more," and and hands it to Miku, and Miku has no idea what's going on. Opens it, it's just a bunch of money, and she's like, "What is this for?"
She's
This
like
is
totally
so random,
blindsided by it.
right?
So I wanted
Um.
because you were mentioning characters that they added, uh,
Mhm.
characters that they didn't have in the live action. They definitely didn't have Bob. Do you remember
Who
Bob?
is Bob again?
He was the dude that was cooking barbecue inside of his house.
Oh yeah,
And
like
Tatsu
The
died. Yeah,
American.
the American guy. Tatsu thought there's like a fire in the place, and they went outside, and the police busted him. They actually took
No, no,
that
no, no,
scene
no.
into the first episode, I think, where he was making a giant cloud of smoke at the river, which doesn't make sense because they're open air; it would just go up.
No, no. In the manga, um, Tatsu sees him like cooking the barbecue, and then he joins him in the house cooking the
Yeah,
barbecue, and then they start having like a coughing fit, and then he's
that's
like,
right.
"Okay, we gotta move. Yeah, we gotta move this outside."
Yeah, in the show, that didn't make too much sense because they made the giant cloud outside. Like, come on, dude. It's gonna go up. It's not gonna be on the ground.
I think that's more of a production thing, like a safety production thing
Yeah,
than
obviously
like
CG clouds.
than a one to one thing. But yeah,
Maybe they couldn't portray somebody cooking inside because people would repeat and they
S-
might get a lawsuit or something like that.
Yeah, like a safety thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense, right?
yeah, you can't show people
Um,
running with scissors the wrong way or something like that on TV because you might be
right.
liable for damages
Um,
somewhere.
okay, so keeping on to the random adding people train, the 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 episode or whatever sections I hated the most,
Which one?
it was so jarring, was in the live action. It was the one with Miku and her boss, and I'm like, they kind of when like shows add in like these type of like, okay, so in the very last Avengers, do you remember where like all the women get together? It's like, oh, women power.
Girl power. Yeah, I
Um,
remember that scene.
yeah,
The way I took it as was them needing to have like a big build up moment so they can have an ending. That's the only reason I felt for that. I didn't really like it too much.
well, no, that wasn't the ending, or was that in the fourth episode?
I
Where
think it was either the fourth or the eighth. No, the eighth
the
was where he got sick and they thought he was dying because there was a misunderstanding about a
cancer?
gift. Yeah.
No, 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 no. The eighth episode was the daughter getting kidnapped.
Oh, I mean there's so many things happen in 8 episodes. I'm like getting stuff mixed up now.
Yeah.
It
I
was
forgot
either the
all about
fourth
the
or the
thing.
eighth. Yeah.
Uh, it was so random that they were gonna wait. In the eighth episode, it was the daughter getting kidnapped and then they get remarried. Is
They renew
something
their
like that?
vows or something like that.
Yeah, it was something random, but not. But yeah, I was talking about them doing the scene with the the girl or Miku and her boss, and her
Yeah.
boss is like, "Oh, don't talk about your husband because he's a yakuza." I'm like, why do you even need to bring that up in a work environment?
I
Like
mean, it would
that.
be. I felt like it was probably a good episode to have in the live action because that's something that would come up. Like she's,
I felt like
the
that was
company might.
pushed.
It
I
was.
felt
Uh,
yeah.
for me, it felt like okay, this is something that could pop up because, uh, the boss might feel like the other company would say, "Are you guys tied to the yakuza in some way?" And they say, "Wait, what about this guy?"
Yeah, I don't know, it just felt very pushed. Yeah. Um I mean, it wasn't like bad, but
No, it wasn't.
honestly, they could have gone with something else. Like I just didn't like that overall, like that entire ordeal, but I guess it made the bonding thing a little better because um the child bonded better with Tatsu. What's even her name? I don't even know her name.
I don't remember, kid. That kid was actually hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, she was pretty funny. Um she it was like bonding between her and Tatsu, and then Miku was the thing where she stayed at the office and never came home, and then Tatsu was pretty chill about it. He's like, okay, it's just her being, the way she is, and we just got to give her some air or whatever. And keep in mind that it wasn't even Tatsu that started the fight. It was the kid that started the fight with her mom. So
Oh,
honestly, I felt like it was just a really pushed episode. Like they didn't really, they could have gone with something else.
well, it was the manager that was the freaking cause of the problem. He was being a jerk about it, and then he
No,
said
no,
some
no.
words
Like
to
he was
Tatsu, and
being a
then that
jerk.
made it worse.
Yeah, he was being a jerk about it. But when they went home and they were, when Miku was talking to Tatsu about it, um, it was the child that was like, yeah, whatever. Like, and then when Miku was like, I'm gonna go, stay at work and never come home, and the child was like, yeah, go, you go do that. We don't care. Tatsu was staying out of it. He didn't say anything, so it was between the child and Miku. So,
I
um,
Yeah, that was I really like that dynamic where the kid is more bonded to Tatsu somehow than with her own mother. It feels like because I guess she's working all the time and Tatsu's always there helping out with stuff and being a goof.
because Tatsu's like cool, like.
He
Dude,
is
it was
cool.
so random. Do you remember the episode where the kid is like, "Oh, you don't love me because you don't hit me." I'm like, "What?"
I mean,
That's-
so that comes from Tatsu not being her real father, uh,
right.
and she wants him to be like her dad, because OG went run away.
She wants him to discipline her
Yeah,
like what a real dad would be. But
exactly.
like there's different ways of disciplining like a person, but
Well,
she's
she's a
like, "Oh,
kid.
you
She
don't."
doesn't understand. Maybe she got the bad idea from one of her classmates or something like that.
I I would expect like a person like she's a smart person, like she's not dumb.
She's a kid
So
still, and it's a
still it
TV show. It doesn't have to make complete
I,
sense.
I I just felt like that was really odd. Where it's like, oh, you don't love me because you don't hit me. I'm like, what? That's so weird.
So
That's
that's
so
like
random.
something that uh, single mothers, when they get a new boyfriend and then the boyfriend becomes the husband. That's something that happens a lot of the time with couples like that, where
Is it?
the kid has to get like maybe not in this way. It's more of the kid rejecting the new dad, but this was like
I
the
yeah
kid
I
wanting
mean I
to
see that in like shows all the time.
right. This was the
But
kid wanting it. It was because it was a little bit of a different take on it.
right.
So yeah, the hitting thing was a little bit weird. Like people don't really do that too much these days. At least good
Yeah,
parents don't.
yeah, unless you're like watching one of those shows where like the mom gets like a sleazy guy or something like that. Yeah, I can see that, but like not in this situation, especially with Tatsu. Like he's the cool guy. Like, where what was it like Tatsu finds out that she's skipping class or whatever, but instead of like scolding her, he she forces him to buy her ice cream, and then once they get home, Miku's like, "Oh, why'd you get the ice cream?" And the child says, "Oh, because I was a good girl and that I got good grades or something like that." And Tatsu played along, but like he gave her that look. Where he's like, you gotta explain to her eventually. But I think that's where she in her head was like, "Oh, why didn't you rat me out? You should have just ratted me out to my mom." But
I mean, she's
I
growing
felt
up
like
in a family that has to bond together, so obviously it's gonna come up. Something's gonna
yeah,
clash in that
yeah, that's
situation. It's not always gonna be easy peasy with a new dad around.
yeah. I guess that's kind of true. Um, okay. So in regards to that, like, I really want to get into like the relationship with Masa because that was so random, wasn't it?
What do you mean the girl liking Masa?
Yeah,
I
that was so out of nowhere.
yeah, I don't know the history of the actor, so I think that might have to do something why they like put him in such a way. Like, cause
Mm,
wasn't Tatu always wearing the same clothes, but they highlighted Masa a lot. Like they gave him different clothes all the time.
I maybe it was just like a scene director thing. Like, like maybe we were just putting a lot of emphasis on like him wearing a lot of different clothes, but maybe it was just like that he's that type of character where he just wears that
Well,
a
cause
bunch
in
of
the
different types
manga
of
he's
clothes.
broke. There's a New Year's panel where he's like, "Give me
He
some
keeps
money,
asking him for
Aniki."
New Year's money.
Yeah. So it made more sense in the live action that that's why he would be broke. But in the
Right.
live action, they didn't make him broke like that. He was making money. He had the money to buy these expensive clothes. Like he was wearing t-shirts that cost 70 fucking dollars.
Well, maybe that was just like more of a backstage thing. I
I'm
think
sure it was
maybe you're
just the
putting too much
production
into it.
clothes. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's production clothes.
it
Like
doesn't
maybe he's
really
still
matter too
broke.
much. He was looking super fly, and that's why the girl liked him, I guess. But yeah,
Maybe
it
I.
was just for me. It was kind of funny. It always reminded me like Tori's struggling to work at a supermarket. And the leader of the Yakuza group is just there chilling all the time, and this dude somehow has money out of nowhere to get all these expensive clothes. That was the only thing that
Yeah,
bothered me really.
like it's basically just someone who's really big into clothes would notice. But if like unlike like me where I'm not really big into clothes and I don't know costs for production of clothes or anything like that,
Yeah,
he just looked like a regular character just wearing different clothes every day. Like I like if you're thinking about it, a character shouldn't be wearing the same clothes in a live action every day.
right.
Um, so
That's
it
true.
makes sense that they switch clothes all the time. In the manga, it makes sense if they wear the same clothes,
Easier
because
to
it's a
draw.
manga.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's easier to draw. It's more consistent. Um,
exactly. That's true.
so it's just a production thing. I think it's just a production thing.
All right.
Um,
Well, I mean, it is an adaptation for the gag manga, so it doesn't have to be that serious.
yeah,
I just wanted
that's
it
what
to
I'm
be
saying.
an
You
episode. Like it like bothered me that they never addressed it because of the
right?
because they emphasized the poorness of Tori and her husband so much. I don't know why Masa was still around, but whatever.
I mean, they weren't that poor because like did they straight up find like a wad of cash and like in a coat jacket or something?
Yeah, it was like one of the remaining things. Oh, by the way, that
I
that was hilarious where he went to sell like super expensive statue that the boss spent millions of yen on just to get like $5 back for it.
Oh, it was like a horse statue or something.
Yeah. It happened like twice with like a kimono or something like that. I don't remember.
You know like when that scene came up, you know what instantly came to my mind?
What?
There was this one scene in Pawn Stars
Oh my
where
god, exactly, yeah.
where the guy comes in with the horse statue. Is like this horse statue is like super rare. It's made by this one designer, and it's
Mhm.
like $1 million. Rix takes the horse statue, turns it around. It's like a made in China stamp at the bottom. He's like, it's fake. And the guy goes, no, it's not. It's real. He keeps denying it, but this it's legit just stamped at the bottom, made in China.
No, but the one in the show was in the show. It was real. It was just made by
Yeah, yeah,
somebody
yeah.
who's not famous for being an artist. But so I'm sure it was still worth a lot of money, just not as much. But Masa straight up got fleeced on that one.
It's probably because they're selling it to a pawn shop and not to like a
Actual
broker or
place,
something.
yeah.
I mean I think it's his it's his fault that they gave it to Masa to sell.
Yeah, definitely.
I just love that like whenever the wife says something, the husband's like, yeah, yeah, but when Masa says something, he always screams at him, even though
Well, I
he's
mean,
like
it's his wife.
repeating
You can't yell at her like that. She'd leave him. She's the one
like
keeping the
even,
stuff together.
yeah, but even if Masa says like a good idea, the boss is like, that's a horrible idea, and then the wife repeats the idea, and he's like, oh, that's a great idea.
They really made for a good comedic group. I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're like a good gag trio.
definitely.
Oh, what do you think of them giving like the cops like a full thing too?
That was in the same arc where he was working to get the Polycure figure at the same time
No,
Tatsu
no, no,
was.
but like the cops are recurring characters that have like their own not backstories, but like they were instead of like in the manga where they just showed up once or twice and they're not a big deal. The cops are like they're recurring characters that had their own scenes and where they
That's
had
yeah.
dialogue back and forth.
I actually enjoyed
Uh,
them a lot. At first, I felt like they were being super jerks to Tatsu, because obviously
yeah,
Tatsu's just a household husband now. But obviously, they don't know that. They don't know if he's gonna go back or not. They're not Tatsu. So I mean,
yeah.
in some ways I feel it's okay for them to suspect him, but at a certain point, they gotta dial it back. Like they're super hard on him. Maybe
Dude, the
in the future
wait,
they'll have an episode where they're friendlier after that arc with the Polycure figure.
oh yeah, most definitely. Like the scene where um they chase the Yakuza gang around because
Yeah.
they think that they're about to get into like a big gang fight, and it's just Tatsu going to a birthday party, and it just ends with the police like arresting all the Yakuzas.
Yeah, it was in the manga. Didn't they have that? But it was just that Tatsu gave Masa basil, fresh basil, and he gave potpourri
No, no, I
for the
think that was
birthday.
I know what you're talking about, but maybe that's where they were tying it into, where Tatsu was growing like a bunch of herbs,
Yeah,
and the cops are spying on him, and they're like, he's totally growing drugs. I mean, I don't know. It does look fishy when you put herbs inside a suitcase,
a
right?
steel suitcase, and that happened like
A steel.
twice with him. Like he needs to. I remember I asked you if Tatsu realized he was being that way, like being
I think
menacing.
that's the joke, though. That's the joke.
No, but like
Is
in the show, like would he? Is he cognizant of how people perceive him? I guess no, right?
Probably not. Maybe yes, but because it's so ingrained into him because he's lived that lifestyle
For so
for
long,
his
he
entire
doesn't know
life.
how
Yeah,
else to act, right?
exactly that. So like
It would so
like
yeah, I guess it would make sense for him to offer a coupon like that. He views it as a big grand gesture of kindness.
like the episode or in the manga where they were buying a car
Yeah,
and
that was really good.
he was test driving it
And he has
and
flashbacks.
yeah, it gets flashback of people pulling out guns and then the old man pulling out a bazooka.
Oh my god, that was so much. The CGI was jank, but you know what can you expect from just a drama show
Right?
to have good, to have super good.
Wait, what was that in the live action? I don't
It
recall.
was.
Oh,
They had the stabbing, they had the rocket launcher, all three of them. But Masa was there with him instead.
okay. Instead of Miku.
Yep.
Oh, I think.
They
Well,
cut
yeah, I
down
guess that
Miku a drastic amount in the live action, didn't they?
because she's a working woman, so it makes sense they cut her out, right?
That's true.
That's what I didn't like about
The
the live
relationship,
action is yeah, it's because the dynamic of the relationship is Tatsu with
the
the
kid all the
child or
time.
Tatsu
I mean,
with
that's how it would
yeah,
be for a household husband. She's only
right,
there at
right.
night or on the weekends.
Well, that's where like in the manga that's where most of the gags takes place is during the night or during the during the weekend or something like that. We never see it in the early morning, and if we do see it in the early morning, it's usually Tatsu like by himself,
That's
doing
true.
something like cleaning
Daily
chores.
chores.
Yeah, daily chores, and that's where a lot of the gags come from.
I miss that they didn't do too much of the cat stuff. Like, you know that panel
I mean they're
where,
point five. They're point five chapters. They're like extras on top, so
yeah, I know.
I'm not too surprised
I
about them.
super
But
enjoyed the one where the cat steals the fish from Tatsu and he runs into the Yakuza group's building and then they chase him. You
oh
remember
yeah,
that one?
that's right.
Yeah.
Um, I yeah, I felt like the random Yakuza rival gang was like what they like when they added that third gang into the live action. I don't know. I kind of didn't like them, but I guess they're just there to add some tension or whatever.
And,
Like
to fill time. I didn't like them too much just because they were
they didn't do anything, right?
not really. It was just something about them was, I wouldn't, it felt fake. I guess more real than the one that Tatsu used to be, but still, I didn't care for him too much.
Yeah, I don't think they were in the manga, were they?
It was the guy with the dog,
Yeah, but I think
not the
that's
tiny
I think
dog.
that's
It was a big dog.
oh, that's right, that's
Yeah,
right. There was
there's
like a
definitely two separate ones. In the live action, there were three.
yeah, it was like a golden retriever and a
It was a Shiba. Tatsu was walking a Shiba, I believe, and then the other gang leader had like a big, uh,
I think
not
it was a
German
golden
Shepherd. It was a
uh,
brown dog, black dog. It was a breed that would
oh
be a
I
dark color, not a golden retriever, but something that size.
yeah, I know what dog you're talking about. I just don't know the name of it. Wait,
Yeah,
where did Tatsu get a
he was just dog walking.
yeah, who's the dog?
Some random person. It looked like he had a
That's
lot of odd jobs just to have extra money.
I guess maybe. I want to end. Okay, we're going a bit long, but I want to end with this great chapter. It's the I'm so sad that this wasn't in the
Hold
live
on,
action.
I just want to cut you off really quick. Oh, you said was it in the live action? I thought you were about to start talking about the bubble wrap ASMR thing.
No, so this was only in the manga. It's the chapter where Miku's I think sister or friend comes over, right? And she's like, like I don't know how to save money. Like I'm so in debt. And Tatsu starts showing her how to save money. Like you have to cut corners here, you have to cut corners here, you have to cut corners here. And then the chapter ends with Miku with like, oh, she's playing like what's the manga she likes? The
Polycure,
Polycure.
Precure,
She's playing
something
like
like
a
that.
Polycure gotcha game, where she's like, "Oh, anything for my Polycure." She spends money on the gotcha.
Yeah, I remember. And at the end of it, she
I
was like,
love that.
"I'm all right. I'll hold off for now." That whole chapter, like the way he was talking, she legit thought he was gonna like sell her off or have her do, sex work stuff like that, or work on a
Was
pole.
it?
Yeah, that's what the friend thought. But he kept on subverting her expectation with actually helping her out and showing her how to do things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought that was really hilarious. It's like, you gotta cut corners, and then there's just Miku like spending money on gotchas. That's
Oh
my
my gosh.
favorite.
And
Or what about the scene where I I'm not sure if it was in the live action or not, but no, I don't think so. It was when Miku and Tatsu were shopping, and Miku wanted all these items, and then she's like acts like a spoiled brat for a second, and the Tatsu's like, if you're gonna act like that, I'm not gonna buy you any more games.
oh, I remember that. And then there's like people in the background, like, oh, that's a really weird couple or something like that. And she drags him off, because she sees how people think he might be like being abusive to her because he's a yakuza or previous.
Oh, that's right.
I think isn't that the origin of the apron where she got him to dress more friendlier, I guess.
Oh,
Wear an
that's right. And
apron to
then no,
be.
no, no. I don't think so because he had an apron
Oh
already,
yeah, it might have been
but
a
she
different
wanted
one then. It was a similar
yeah,
situation.
yeah, because she wanted him to look friendlier, as he started trying out these clothes and all of them like looked menacing. And then the last item he wore was like it was an apron, but instead of his bear, it was a polycure apron. And she's like, "Oh, that is amazing. We
Oh
gotta
yeah,
keep that."
and then some kid's like, "Mom, that's a weird couple."
Besides my favorite chapters, you have anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, this is more of an anime versus live action. Who had the best intro?
What do you mean like
The
intro
theme.
wise? Mm,
So
I
the live action was super generic, and the Netflix one was some.
pretty good, right?
Yeah, the guy's voice was a little bit on the weird side. The woman's voice was
I think that the
tremendous.
ending was really good too, right?
I didn't really pay attention to the ending because every time it came up, Netflix was trying to skip it on me.
Oh, like I think the Netflix one was better. I was like, do 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 do. Like it,
Shufu shufu something something.
yeah. I mean,
I just
they're
didn't
not
like the
something to
voice of
rave
the
about.
guy. It would have been perfect if they had the voice a little bit higher. It didn't sound like it was
Uh,
like a perfected
maybe it
product.
was supposed to sound janky.
It was definitely like Yakuza type sounding music. It was good. It just could have been better with a different singer, maybe, or if he sung in a different
Uh,
tone.
maybe you know it is like with how low their budget is for the anime, that's their only choice is to get the voice actors to sing it because they already have the rights to the voice actors, right?
I
So
Was it
just get
the
them to
voice
sing it.
actor singing it? I can't. I don't know.
I think so. It sounded like it.
The woman singing was amazing. I loved it in that song. It just if they got somebody else to sing the male lyrics, I guess I'm just not a fan of that type of singing.
Like usually, like this is the first time I've seen such a crappy anime from Netflix. Usually Netflix pumps out good anime, but this is like garbage. Like I could talk about this for another hour how garbage the anime was,
You
but
know what this is? We finally understand how people like, man, you should have read the book. The book was so much
no, no,
better.
no, no, no. Like I understand like when someone tells you to read the book because the manga was crap or the anime was crap, but this is like legit not an anime.
It
It's
wasn't.
not.
It was very minimally animated. They would spend like 3 seconds on a panel, on a picture.
Like yeah, it's literally just characters cut out and then they wiggle. They go in and add a wiggle effect, and that was they add a wiggle effect or they add an effect that makes the character move up and down like they're walking. That was it. That was completely it. The only thing they animated was the mouth. That's the only
Definitely.
animation they did. Yeah, so in this regard, 100% read the manga because you're legit just it's basically the same thing as the anime. You know what? Honestly, if you're watching the anime, you're basically reading the manga.
It
It's
was
reading the manga for
it
you.
was very one to one.
Yeah. You know what? You know what?
It
I
was a
consider
good
the
adaptation. It was just lazy. That's how I
it,
would
yeah,
put
it's
it.
very lazy. Um, you know what I call the anime? It's an it's an audiobook
With
with
pictures.
moving pictures.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. On Amazon, they have that on some books.
Yeah, it's an audiobook with moving or what's it called on
I
Amazon?
don't remember. That's what I was trying to figure out. I was hoping you knew.
Uh uh literature something like I I don't remember.
It
I
doesn't
know what you're
matter.
talking about. I just don't
I'm sure
remember.
people know what they've come across of it. I've seen it myself, and I don't
Like
even. Yeah,
animated lit or animated book something like that. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, so something to that extent. But besides that, I'm pretty much done with this.
Yeah, that was
Like, I guess we're done with it, right?
yeah, that was definitely the first time we've ever done that. We should find another show that has a manga, anime, and
A
a
live
live
action.
action. Oh, I'm sure there's a lot like
Um,
Riri or something like that.
what was it Space Brothers has one?
I need to finish Space Brothers, but so long, dude.
Yeah, it's also like what 99 episodes or something like that. So
Yeah,
it's a very yeah.
something
But
short.
yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind doing like a comparison between like two like a live action and a manga or an anime that have that as well. I overall I really did enjoy this anime though, or the manga. I
I
mean,
enjoyed watching all three and seeing the differences. That was amazing. I just wish the anime was a lot better. It was a good adaptation, just they didn't put much effort, as we
look,
said.
we just won't call it an anime, and we'll end the podcast
Call
here.
it a day. All right.
Yeah, we'll call it a day. All right, guys. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, leave us a comment or give us a rating or whatever. But besides that, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.